Hey, welcome back to the Global Update channel. Remember Donald Trump's America First slogan? It was a phrase that resonated deeply with many Americans, a promise to prioritize the needs and interests of the United States above all else. It was a bold declaration, one that aimed to shift the focus inward, to rebuild and strengthen the nation from within. It was his rallying cry, his promise to put American interests above all else. The slogan became synonymous with his campaign and presidency, a clear message that he intended to shake up the status quo and bring about significant changes in how America interacted with the rest of the world. It sounded good on paper, maybe even a little patriotic. The idea of putting one's country first is a sentiment that can easily stir feelings of pride and nationalism. After all, who wouldn't want their country to thrive and succeed? The notion of America First tapped into a deep-seated desire for national pride and self-sufficiency. But in the world of international trade, things are rarely that simple. The global economy is a complex web of interdependencies, where the actions of one nation can have far-reaching consequences for others. Trade policies and economic strategies are not just about numbers and statistics, they are about relationships, trust, and mutual benefit. Turns out you can't just shout America first and expect the rest of the world to say, "Sure, go right ahead." Other countries have their own interests and priorities, and they are not always willing to accommodate a unilateral approach. The global stage is a place of negotiation and compromise, where every nation seeks to protect its own interests. Trump's policies, especially his tariffs on goods from China and Europe, ended up sparking a global trade war. These tariffs were intended to protect American industries by making foreign goods more expensive, thereby encouraging consumers to buy American-made products. However, the reality was far more complicated. It was like a messy breakup, but instead of couples therapy, we got angry tweets and economic uncertainty. The tariffs led to retaliatory measures from other countries, creating a cycle of escalating tensions and economic disruptions. Businesses and consumers on both sides of the trade disputes felt the impact, with higher prices and reduced access to goods. The idea behind the tariffs was to protect American jobs and industries. By making foreign goods more expensive, the hope was that American companies would be able to compete more effectively, leading to job growth and economic prosperity within the United States. It was a strategy aimed at revitalizing American manufacturing and reducing the trade deficit. But did it really work out that way? The results were mixed. While some industries did see a boost, others struggled with the increased costs of imported materials and the loss of foreign markets for their products. The tariffs created winners and losers, and the overall impact on the economy was a subject of intense debate. Let's take a closer look. To truly understand the effects of the America First policies, we need to delve into the data, examine the outcomes, and consider the broader implications for both the United States and the global economy. It's a complex story, one that goes beyond slogans and sound bites, and requires a nuanced understanding of international trade dynamics. Trump's trade war kicked off in 2018 with tariffs on steel and aluminum imports, primarily targeting China. This move was part of a broader strategy to address what the administration saw as unfair trade practices and to protect American industries from foreign competition. The tariffs were set at 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum, sending shockwaves through global markets. The goal was to boost American manufacturing. By imposing these tariffs, the administration hoped to revitalize domestic production and bring back jobs that had been lost to overseas competition. The idea was that higher import costs would make American-made products more competitive, encouraging companies to invest in U.S. factories and hire American workers. But things quickly escalated, with tariffs expanding to a wide range of goods, including automobiles. The initial focus on steel and aluminum soon broadened to include a variety of other products as the trade war intensified. This led to a series of retaliatory tariffs from other countries, creating a complex web of trade barriers that affected numerous industries. Europe, home to some of the world's biggest automakers like Germany's Volkswagen and France's Renault, found itself caught in the crossfire. These companies, which had long been major players in the global automotive market, suddenly faced new challenges as tariffs threatened to disrupt their supply chains and increase production costs. These companies had invested heavily in the U.S. market, building factories and creating jobs. European automakers had established significant manufacturing operations in the United States, producing vehicles for both the domestic market and for export. This investment had created thousands of jobs and contributed to local economies, making the impact of the tariffs particularly concerning. Now, they were facing the prospect of higher costs and reduced profits. The tariffs threatened to erode their competitive edge, as higher production costs could lead to higher prices for consumers. Business executives in the automotive industry expressed concerns about the long-term implications, fearing that the trade war could lead to decreased sales, lower profits, and potential job losses. The uncertainty created by the tariffs made it difficult for companies to plan for the future, adding another layer of complexity to an already challenging business environment. The tariffs on European cars were a direct hit on Germany, France, and even Denmark, which is home to suppliers and parts manufacturers for the auto industry. These countries have long been the backbone of the European automotive sector, providing essential components that keep the industry running smoothly. These countries had built their economies on free trade and global partnerships. The intricate web of international agreements and collaborations had allowed them to thrive in a competitive global market. Trump's tariffs threatened to upend decades of economic integration. The policies introduced by the Trump administration were seen as a significant disruption to the established order, causing ripples across the global economy. German car makers in particular were vulnerable. Renowned for their engineering excellence and luxury brands, German manufacturers like BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi faced a daunting challenge. They exported hundreds of thousands of luxury cars to the US every year. These exports were a significant part of their revenue streams, and any disruption could have far-reaching consequences. The tariffs made these cars more expensive for American consumers, leading to a potential decline in demand. Higher prices could deter buyers, pushing them towards more affordable alternatives, potentially hurting sales and forcing companies to rethink their strategies. Automakers had to consider new approaches such as shifting production to other countries, renegotiating trade deals, or even focusing on different markets to mitigate the impact of the tariffs. The ripple effects of these changes were felt not just in Europe but across the global automotive industry, highlighting the interconnected nature of modern economies. Here's the thing about tariffs: they're basically taxes on imported goods, and guess who ends up paying those taxes? Consumers. The tariffs on European cars meant that Americans had to shell out more money for their dream BMWs or Audis. Suddenly, that new Mercedes-Benz wasn't quite as attainable. This led to a decline in demand for European cars, hurting both European manufacturers and American dealerships. Retaliation and escalation. The European Union, not one to back down from a trade spat, retaliated with tariffs of its own on American goods like bourbon, motorcycles, and orange juice. Remember those iconic Harley-Davidson motorcycles? They just got a whole lot more expensive for European riders. This tit-for-tat tariff battle only made things worse, hurting businesses and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic. It was a classic case of a trade war with no winners. Disrupted supply chains, stalled factories. The auto industry is all about global supply chains. Parts are made in different countries, shipped across borders, and assembled into finished vehicles. Trump's tariffs threw a wrench into this intricate system. The increased costs and uncertainty caused by the tariffs led to production delays, factory closures, and job losses in both the United States and Europe. It was a stark reminder of how interconnected the global economy had become. The global trade web unravels. The trade war between the United States and Europe didn't happen in a vacuum. It had ripple effects throughout the global economy. Other countries got caught in the crossfire, forced to choose sides or face the consequences. The uncertainty and instability created by the trade war led to a slowdown in global economic growth. It was a stark reminder that in the 21st century, we're all in this together. Political fallout and uncertain futures. The trade war wasn't just bad for business, it was bad for politics too. It strained relations between the United States and its European allies, creating tensions and mistrust. The tariffs became a major point of contention, undermining cooperation on other global issues like climate change and security. The future of transatlantic relations looked uncertain. Lessons learned: cooperation, not confrontation. The trade war launched by the Trump administration was a cautionary tale about the dangers of protectionism and the importance of international cooperation. It showed that in a globalized world, you can't just put America first without consequences. The trade war may be over, but its lessons endure. It's a reminder that we're all better off when we work together, build bridges instead of walls, and embrace the spirit of global cooperation. As we look to the future, it's clear that the road ahead won't be easy. The scars of the trade war are still fresh, but they serve as a powerful reminder of the need for thoughtful, inclusive trade policies. Nations must come together to forge new agreements that prioritize fairness, sustainability, and shared prosperity. While the global stage saw dramatic clashes, the ripple effects of the trade war were deeply felt within local economies. Small towns, once thriving with factories and local businesses, faced closures and layoffs. Farmers, who relied heavily on exports, struggled to find new markets for their crops, often seeing their produce go to waste. In the heartland of America, families felt the pinch as prices for everyday goods soared. The local diner that once served bustling crowds now stands half-empty, a stark reminder of the economic toll. Community centers became hubs for support, but the strain on local resources was palpable. Across the ocean, European towns known for their craftsmanship faced similar struggles. Local artisans, who prided themselves on their heritage, saw demand plummet as tariffs made their goods less competitive. The once bustling markets now echoed with the quiet hum of uncertainty. This scene is a testament to the interconnectedness of our world. Decisions made in high offices have profound impacts on the ground level. It underscores the importance of considering the human element in global trade policies. The resilience of these communities is a beacon of hope, but their stories serve as a cautionary tale for future trade negotiations. As the world grapples with the fallout from trade wars, a beacon of hope emerges on the horizon: future innovations in the auto industry. While tariffs and disputes have disrupted the status quo, they have also spurred a wave of creativity and technological advancement. Automakers are now investing heavily in electric vehicles, EVs, aiming to reduce dependency on fossil fuels and cut emissions. Companies like Tesla, Nissan, and BMW are leading the charge, unveiling new models with extended ranges and quicker charging times. These advancements promise not only environmental benefits but also new economic opportunities. Autonomous driving technology is another frontier rapidly gaining traction. Tech giants and car manufacturers are collaborating to bring self-driving cars to the mainstream. These vehicles are equipped with advanced sensors and AI algorithms, making them safer and more efficient than ever before. Moreover, the rise of smart cities is transforming how we think about transportation. Integrated systems allow for seamless communication between vehicles, traffic lights, and public transport hubs, reducing congestion and improving urban mobility. Yet, the path to these innovations is not without challenges. Regulatory frameworks need to adapt, public trust must be earned, and infrastructure must be upgraded. But the potential rewards are immense: cleaner air, safer roads, and a more connected world. In this scene, we glimpse a future where the auto industry not only survives but thrives, driven by ingenuity and a commitment to a better tomorrow. The innovations born from today's challenges could very well shape the landscapes of our cities and the rhythms of our lives for generations to come. As we look ahead, it's clear that the future of the auto industry is not just about cars. It's about creating a sustainable, interconnected, and innovative world.